Hiya Instas, welcome back to another Moonwatch episode. And if you're new, welcome too. You can check out my general take on new and full moons by watching the video that I'll link in this one. And you can also check out my video on the full moon in Capricorn if you like. Please do consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments where you have Cancer in your birth chart. You can book a reading with me or get in touch via the details in the description box below. And by the way, Cancer Suns get 50% off my sun sign and solar return reports all Cancer season. So book yourself or a Cancer friend a reading today. Alrighty, so the new moon in Cancer. Let's pray to the moon. I've got my candles. I've got my peppermint tea. Feeling good. The moon's in Pisces right now as well. But yeah, let's really rejoice and feel the juicy sweetness that is Cancer season. This new moon in the cardinal water sign Cancer takes place July 10th. And it's strongest around 3 and 4 p.m. UK time and is at 18 degrees of Cancer. And just looking at the numerology, I do think that this can be an intense one for the spiritually inclined, the religious, and the teachy preachy ones among us. We do want to also treat each other and ourselves a bit like we are mothers and fathers, and Mars and Venus are in Leo now, and Saturn is retrograde at 11 degrees Aquarius, a very, 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 to me, big sign that some big sort of kink, is that the word? Kink in the hose pipe is finally able to get fixed, and we really can sort of gush with something quite remarkable at this time, or quite formidable as well. Or maybe it's just simply a sort of sweet cherry on the top for those of us who are by now sort of full steam ahead, but also not jumping the gun or in any hurry. Now we do also have this lovely new moon in the sign of Cancer, where, by the way, the moon is said to be in its domicile, where things are cozy and cushy. We have this new moon at the same time as the Mars and Venus conjunction in Leo. I did some videos on those planets in Leo, which you can check out as well, but I'm also getting that this particular new moon can bring in a ton of new action or momentum for some, where we're having to both be brave and face music, but also not worry too much, not be too sensitive either. And for some of us to not worry too much about how others might feel. That sounds a bit odd. I think as long as we're not being mean and we're on the right path, going down the right way, it's fine to disregard at this time how others might feel in some instances. And it's not just going through the motions, as Cancer season can often be, but right now it's also fighting through the motions. There's a lot of challenge to the ego, and with Saturn opposing Mars, things can really tempt us to punch out or want to slice or curse or just be miserable and angry. And some of us are set in the ways or patterns of being miserable and angry, so it's nothing new. It's sort of an odd new moon, really, which can be squandered as well if we aren't letting the tide take us with it when it needs to. But some of us will want to be, like Dory in Finding Dory, and go against the watery grain into the undertow. I think that's what it's called, because either way, all new moons are kazimis, and a kazimi is when a planet is at the same degree and sign as the sun. So it's kind of like inside the sun. And this is when brand new realizations and sort of big ideas can flash up, and we just sort of go there. And with this particular Kazemi new moon, there's fresh perspectives, and our intentions can be nicely set. We can set these intentions, and we can set them towards reciprocity. And there's big lessons as well about receiving, and how important receiving is in Cancer season. I was recently in a mood with someone, and based on a mood, sort of rejected their offering of some cake. And I love cake, but I'm very Cancerian, and sometimes often a mood can just like capture me for quite some time. And then later that day, I ended up locking myself out of my flat. I'd left my keys at home the night before and was made to wait and call and knock and borrow. And there were a couple of sort of forced connections that had to be made just to get back into the home. So we could, anyway, be feeling some like emotional entitlement as well. But the universe can give us that sort of serves you right moment. We don't have to turn a cold shoulder to familial gestures, especially those gestures that kind of involve food or some form of comfort. Although, as I've been talking about, some of us will. This isn't just like a cozy cake Cancer season for some. Some of us will be, tearing ourselves away from the literal family, and forging brand new sort of physical paths. And it's not really out of some sudden newness, but it's just the eventual materialization of cords cut long ago, or it's a more real sort of evidencing that biological affinity alone can't promise everything, and that it's not meant to promise everything. Now, very soon after the moon and the sun meet, we get this strong moon-Pluto opposition. And Pluto, yes, is still retrograde in Capricorn. So we do get immediately tested. And I have the feeling that a lot of us are sort of rising up out of having fought some big demons, and that this new moon marks a true victory. Perhaps just, one of your demons, but it can still feel promising. And while I think Pluto will return with something from the past, potentially, to try and manipulate us into our sort of deeply entrenched patterns and habits, I feel that for many, it just won't be strong enough, because Pluto's been retrograde for a while now. But not only that, but the ox-year energies are showing us that it's hard now to come away from the path that we've chosen. And with all this sort of Leo energy, we know that whatever we choose will be full on and dramatic. And so we don't want to risk it in Cancer season, basically. And I think there'll also be lots of room for makeup sex here. Yes, it's a very sexy Kazemi time indeed. And with Mars conjunct Venus being ahead, there's renewed, revitalized feelings in our relationships to people and things. Another thing that this new moon can bring us is new commitments to old paths of passion. And, in my case, I've experienced a new burst of passion to learn languages again after a long hiatus, and that, that Cancerian feeling of there being no point in doing something, or being afraid to pick something up again. Fear, Cancerian thing. But now the feeling can feel very fiery, and we'll just sort of show ourselves the joy of something past. And there's new or renewed compassion as well, that we can hold each other more now and be a shoulder to cry on for someone. But it's not just that. It's not just about being that shoulder. It's, it's not just the season for listening. It's about filling each other with strength and support. And it's also about sticking together as a team or family for a lot of us, even when things get, powerful and dramatic, because some of us, possibly most of us watching, are stuck in at least one or two deep sort of emotional habits which we fall into when we're insecure or stressed. Again, it comes a lot from the different generations of our families, our ancestral inheritance as well, which we fall into again when we're insecure, when we're stressed, and we do need each other, not for validation really, which Leo season, which is coming, Leo season can trick us. It's not about validation, but for a sign that we're not on our own when the going gets tough. And we do have to be wary of others as well at this time, trying to pry more of our time, which happens so easily in Cancer season. For example, if you're gossiping or thinking too much about someone, or if we're judging someone without warmth or compassion, we soon find that we're given more work, or that something comes back at us, like a hollow invitation that you put out there. Now gets used against you somehow. You have to follow something through which you didn't really want to. It's also an easy time to get really intense about the relationships that you are already in. So watch out again for over suggesting and over commenting. This can be friends, colleagues, family, whatever. So, because people will likely return to you again, like a multitude of tasks to complete or questions for you to answer for yourself. And this is especially true if it's like a boss, a landlord or something. And with Saturn in Aquarius, these people will be kind of weirdly responsive. They're being a bit weird right now, as I've been saying. These boss types, or rather border guard type people. Sometimes we bite off more than we can chew, and we kind of regret having approached or commented. It's like the student who reminds the teacher that they forgot to assign the homework. You can be that student if you want, but at your own peril. And I feel that we can anyway just ask ourselves around this new moon, what or who can we just let be? That's really important, I think, as well. What can we just let be? Who can we just let be? And what or who doesn't need smothering? And you might feel it as well, that someone or something is trying to smother you in some way. The season of the mother, right? So there is this call for us all to just be like chill, like enjoy the fresh breeze and the sound of the sea, to be sort of a bit more unfazed by overly needy or even seemingly dangerous people, to keep your gut healthy as well, and stay away from the spaces and energies that you don't want to be stuck in. And finally, actually, there's the Thema Mundi, this idea of a kind of birth chart of the world, which is Cancer rising, by the way, the world. And so we are feeling much more like we are the tellers of the tides. Some of us know it's time to uproot and like cross a continent. Some of us know it's time to leave the family home. Some of us know it's time to stop cheating or to stop drinking so much coffee or booze, not because these things are addictive, but more because it's a sort of dangerous comfort or fear that we've been stuck in for so long. It's not even about escape, but a sense of comfort, a sense of not being able to leave that zone, even if we want to. But many of us can tell, right, just by the air, something in the air, just by reading the birds in the sky, really ancient omens that have always existed. We just kind of know it's time, and we're excited, or at least we're forced to run forward, helped now by a lot of this Leonite energy that's coming in, this confident energy. It's a great time as well to commit or intend ourselves to Mother Earth to initiate or reignite our connections with nature. Anyway, I think I've said enough and I'll end it here, but do let me know which houses you have this new moon in, and let's talk about it in the comments. I'm wishing you safe and well as always, and a lovely Cancer season. Goodbye.